I'm meteorologist Monica Woods with our Northern and Central California regional forecast. As we start off for the coast, we've got Fogust. A lot of fog in the month of August. Valley, it's going to be slightly cooler. For the foothills, mostly sunny skies. A few storms for this year, not too scattered throughout the region, but we will see a few isolated pockets of that. Let's get to our forecast, though, with our temperatures. Now, we have been sitting in a rather warm weather pattern for the valley, with temperatures hovering in the 100s. The hottest that we've seen so far this year for Sacramento, 102. Not bad considering what we've seen over the past couple of years. In fact, 2022 really catches the eye. 114 was the hottest temperature that we had, not only for the year, but that was also a record setter for the hottest ever in Sacramento. We also had a 112 that year. So the 102 comparatively not too bad, and we're starting to see temperatures come down somewhat as well. Forecast highs for our Wednesday, we're in the low 90s to right around the upper 80s, especially for Delta influenced areas through the capital region, where we get that flow coming off the Pacific, where highs are sitting in the 60s. We really get a taste and flavor for that coastal cool air. On the east side of the valley and the foothills, it takes a little bit longer for some of that cooler air to make our way into that region. Here's what I'm talking about with the foggy conditions. This is Pacifica. This sits right on the Pacific Ocean in San Mateo County, and you can see it's nearly socked in with fog. Now, inland areas actually start to clear out of some of that fog, but as we look at some of the higher perspectives, you can see that fog just kind of moving along the coast, and then as the sun comes up, kind of dries out the atmosphere. Things actually start to clear out. So we deal with the fog along the coast, some of that moving its way inland, a little bit of that marine stratus pushing its way inland for our Wednesday morning, and then starting to clear. Now, we will see a little bit of thunderstorm activity developing near Yosemite. Most of that is actually going to be east of the crest, so I really wouldn't even be too concerned about widespread thunderstorms for this year or for the time being. It's a pretty quiet pattern, actually. We get a little bit more of that marine stratus moving in for Thursday with that nice onshore flow, and then it takes a little bit of a break. You can see how the wind is going to be shifting to move from a northerly direction. That's going to move some of that fog out as well, dry things out just a little bit, and mean more sunny skies for the coast if you're headed that way. Highs in the meantime for this year in the 80s. Again, we're going to be mostly shower free for the Tahoe Basin. Once we move south of Highway 50, that's where we get into some of the thunderstorm activity, and that will include Yosemite and Sequoia Kings Canyon National Park. As we move down the hill, we're still looking at highs close to 100, mid-90s, near 100, a lot better than the 100s that we were seeing widespread throughout the valley. Along the central coast, we've got highs in the 60s for the most part, although Big Sur starting to warm things up to 83 degrees. For the Monterey Bay Peninsula, though, we'll stay in the 60s. Santa Cruz up to 70. A lot of clouds to start us off in the day with partial afternoon clearing. Again, inland areas still in the 100s, better than the 105 to 110 that we were dealing with over the weekend. Wednesday's highs for the Bay Area, highs will reach the 60s with a lot of cloud cover. Once we move inland, again, we see mostly sunny skies, but we get a taste of that Bay Area cool air with highs in the 80s. Along the northwest coast, highs are going to be in the 50s and low 60s. 59 for Fort Bragg. Compare that to Redding. We're at 100 with sunny skies, so certainly cooler along the coast than for inland areas, but better than what we saw over the weekend. Highs are going to be in the upper 80s and 90s throughout much of the Central Valley. And a look at our regional forecast, our highs are in the 80s through Friday for the high country, and then we drop to the 70s, so more cooling coming into play as we head into this weekend. A mix of sun and clouds for the coast with highs in the 60s and lower 70s. Looking at our extended forecast for the next couple of days, we're in the lower 90s, mid 90s on Friday. That's when we pick up those north winds. And then as we head deeper into the outlook, we'll get into some 80s Sunday into Monday, with next week calling for slightly warmer conditions.